I just wanted to give you all a very warm welcome to this edition of the NASA Space Apps Hackathon. This is the 9th year that NASA is hosting this international hackathon. Over the years, the event has grown tremendously from a handful of cities around the world to now over 200 locations, and Waterloo is one of them. Sorry, got distracted by the pop-up. We're all really excited to have you here. We're all really excited to see what you're going to build. SkyWatch, which is the organization a lot of us are part of, is really excited to be hosting yet another edition of Space Apps. We've been hosting Space Apps for several years in the Waterloo region now, and it has grown from a small event with just a handful of people to, I think last year we had over 300 people on site. It's been incredible to see just the interest in space grow in the region and in Canada. Again, over the years, there's been more and more Canadian locations joining. This year, I think we have 9 locations in Canada, from coast to coast, including Halifax, Vancouver, Ottawa, Toronto. There's even 2 events in Toronto. So it's really, really good to have all of you here. And we're really excited to be able to share some of our passions, some of our interests for the space field, the space industry, and space research with all of you. So I just wanted to give you a quick rundown of the event. So as some of you may know, if you've read the communication that NASA has been sending you, the hackathon officially starts at 9 a.m. tomorrow, Eastern time, because we're in the Eastern time zone. You can start, however, looking at the data sets. You can start finding teammates. You can come to some of the workshops that we have planned for you this afternoon and basically start thinking and noodling about the type of solution that you want to build and you want to present. The hackathon will be ending at 11:59 on the Sunday. This is the last minute you have to submit your solution on your NASA team page. So over the weekend, you will be required to create a team page, invite all of the team participants in your team page, and explain on your team page the solution that you have built for NASA and to present at NASA. On top of the NASA prizes, which you will be potentially eligible to win, we will be selecting, so SkyWatch will be selecting 2 winners from the Waterloo region to move to the global judging round. On top of that, if you do happen to use Canadian Space Agency data in your solution, you are also eligible, provided you did fill out the form sent by the Canadian Space Agency or you filled out before the deadline. You are eligible to be judged for a special Canadian Space Agency prize as well. So there's no reason not to do both if you can do it, because you get judged on basically 2 prizes. So double the chances of winning. And then on top of that, we have a very special SkyWatch Waterloo special prize that James can talk a little bit more about, and we will have a short presentation on it after. I saw that James Slifierz, the SkyWatch CEO and co-founder, and one of the 2014 NASA Space Apps Global winner, has actually joined the call and is here to give you a quick presentation. So I will let him take the mic from me.
Awesome, thank you, Maureen. That was a very quick across the Waterloo region mic pass. Well done, well done. And I'm glad to be on here again for another edition of Space Apps. This is an event that's obviously really important, not only to me personally, but to the company, and is an event that drives very much with the values and principles that we firmly believe in, and this idea that space as an ecosystem and as a playground can be a gateway to various STEM and STEAM fields, and can spark interest in developing out interesting new technologies. And what we like to say in our industry is that we go to space to make our planet better. And I believe that's truly aligned with the ethos of NASA Space Apps. So really excited to see the presentations and the projects kick off this weekend. Every year, I find while it's quite a bit of work putting together the event, as well as participating, mentoring, and just being involved with the event, at the end of Sunday, it's funny how it leaves you feeling both exhausted but also extremely motivated and excited about everything that you saw and everything that you experienced over the previous 48 hours. So I have a little bit of a presentation here I'm going to give. I'll probably talk for about 15, 20 minutes or so, but my goal is to just really talk about what we've done. Why is space important? Why do we do space apps? Why is it important to the company? A little bit about how we leverage space apps as a founding team to build the company that we're building today, and hopefully leave everyone with a bit of leave everyone motivated for what comes ahead over the next 48 hours. So I'm just going to share my screen here. Give me one moment. Awesome. Okay. All right. So first and foremost, as Maureen had mentioned, we have great sponsors. I'm really happy that this year we've started this the idea of a national sponsor, which I think is a great idea, and we're very grateful to MDA, who stepped up and has been supportive of the efforts nationally. We also have a great group of regional sponsors, a list of which many of these companies have helped us and participated in many events, going back all the way to the founding of our hosting 5 years ago. Communitech, Regional Waterloo, the University of Waterloo, Western Institute for Earth and Space Exploration, Chuchai, Zeteca, Balsamic, and Ellison's Bistro, all great restaurants in the Waterloo region. And of course, I saved the Conestoga College, and particularly their entrepreneurship collective for last, because as Maureen was alluding to, we do have a really exciting prize this year, and it's the first time we're sort of doing a prize like this. And I know Paul we'll probably hear more details about it throughout the week. And I know if you're looking for all of the details, you can certainly reach out back to either Maureen or others involved in the event. But Conestoga they've stepped up to provide support and support that'll be provided in other ways, whether that's mentorship and other aspects, to a company or a project that demonstrates real business potential. And so this is something we're really excited about, because in every year there are applications that are developed that have real commercial potential, and we've always pondered on ways that we can support those projects or find support for those projects for continuation after the event is ended. So we're really excited that Conestoga has stepped up to offer that support, and we look forward to having a company or a team continue their project after the event. Okay, let's talk about space. I think what's really fascinating about why space as an area of interest in terms of having a hackathon. I think space is often called the final frontier, and I think it's interesting how young it is in terms of our exploration of it. Of course, the Earth itself goes back. The universe itself goes back billions of years, but our exploration of space goes back less than 100 years. And this image, while not very famous, I think is what I would call infamous. It is what we know to be the first image ever taken of our planet from space. And it has a very complex history. This is an image that was taken aboard a German V-2 rocket on October 24th, 1946, just having been launched from Germany. And for those who are history buffs will recognize and find the date and time to be fairly peculiar. And this was right after World War II. And I think what a lot of people might not realize, or it might not be too familiar, is that a lot of early rocketry was developed by the Nazis during World War II, and for means of trying to essentially reach England and their enemy during the war. And the leader of the German rocketry division, or I should say the Nazi rocketry division, was Wernher von Braun, a man who grew up in Germany in the early 1900s and was fascinated by interplanetary and interstellar travel. The idea of being able to build a spaceship that could enable human beings to leave the planet. And he eventually, they were eventually captured by the Americans in Germany shortly before the fall of Berlin, but nonetheless in 1945. But the Americans were very interested in their technology and continued to support the development of their technology so long as that German group made their way over to the US. And Wernher von Braun and many of his executives and many of the designers and developers of early rocketry eventually were captured by the Americans and brought to America to found a first, which was the NACA, but eventually what became an organization that many obviously now know as NASA, and would eventually be responsible for this image, which is probably one of the most important images for continuing our exploration into space and using space to make our planet a better place. And this image, known as the Blue Marble, was taken aboard Apollo 17 on December 7th, 1972. And it's fascinating, the link between the image that I just shown that was taken aboard a B-2 rocket and this one, because it was eventually Wernher von Braun and his team of former Nazi rocket scientists that eventually figured out how NASA would get to the moon, and ultimately were largely responsible for the development and ultimate success of all of NASA's Apollo missions, including this one, number 17, in which one of the members aboard the Apollo 17 spacecraft on its way to the moon looked back and realized that the entire face, nearly 100% of the Earth's surface that they were looking at, that was in their view, had been lit up by the sun, and they had this beautiful full picture of the Earth, and they captured this beautiful shot, now known famously as Blue Marble. But as soon as the image was taken, it was on news magazine covers and newsstands everywhere. It was the first time we really imaged our full entire planet with such clarity, and it really inspired and struck a lot of motivation in people of the 70s, particularly people very invested in the environmental movement. This image was largely responsible for getting NASA's gaining a lot of political and economic support for developing a lot of early Earth observation satellites that NASA would launch to use to monitor Earth, and which would eventually be used to detect holes in our ozone, as well as a vastly and accelerating warming of our planet. This sparked things like the Environmental Agency in the United States, the Environmental Protection Act, and the cancellation and the outline of many chemicals and pesticides that had been used around our planet. So this is one of the most important images I like to think of in the entirety of our short history as an industry, and it sort of leads to where we are today. If you think about today's evolving space economy, which is extremely exciting, if you look at the very far right of this photo, you have what's a satellite called Worldview 3. It's about 2,800 kilograms. And this was launched maybe a little bit more than a decade ago. I don't remember the exact date off the top of my head, but certainly no more than 15 years ago. And if you look to the very far left, you can see the size of a Planet Dove satellite, approximately 5 kilograms, which, doing the math in my head would suggest that it's about 530 times smaller than that Worldview 3 satellite, with almost similar capabilities, slightly less, but nonetheless, can image the planet from space. And one might ask, well, one might be amazed at how fast or how quickly the technology has miniaturized. And one might also ask, well, why is that so important? Well, the cost of getting to space is largely correlated with the mass of the object you want to send into space. And so the ability to miniaturize your technology means getting to space becomes more and more affordable for more and more people. And that is partly why the space economy of today and commercial space is so exciting, because space as an ecosystem, as a playground, is becoming accessible to so many people. And I'll just touch on the fact that the founding team of SkyWatch realized this not too long ago. In fact, this image was taken about 6.5 years ago, after we won the local Space Apps event in Toronto. Some of us had experience in the space industry, and some of us, like myself, had absolutely no experience in the space industry at the time. But we're certainly inspired by the opportunity to build something in space. And we competed in that event. I think there was maybe approximately 15 or so projects, and we ended up winning a project for a product or a platform that we had built over the weekend that was called SkyWatch. And I thought, I did some digging up earlier today, and I was able to find the video that we ended up making for that presentation. I probably haven't watched this in 3 or 4 years, but this was made about 6.5 years ago.
Between orbiting satellites and the vast amount of telescopes here on Earth, we are constantly watching the skies. Transient phenomena get discovered by our telescopes every day. To capture them, raw telemetric data is quickly sent and collected by the NASA Gamma Ray Coordinates Network. In real time, GCN collects, unpacks, and converts this data into standard formats that are then sent to other telescopes connected to the network. So we created SkyWatch. We've aggregated these events into a filtered stream. We've also tapped into the Google Maps and Google Sky APIs to provide both on-the-ground and in-the-sky visualizations of events taking place. And best of all, users can subscribe to events via RSS and/or email. And of course, they could always follow our Twitter feed. Using SkyWatch, inspiring a generation to reach for the stars, has never been easier.
Yeah, so that was me voicing that exactly in April 20th, 2014, so 6.5 years ago. And it's funny how that I guess is the original SkyWatch pitch. For those who have known the company for quite some time, you might find that interesting. But yeah, and so we ended up going on to a global event, as you do in the Space Apps hackathon, and we ended up winning the event globally. And this is a photo we took in Toronto at the Ontario Science Centre with who at the time was NASA Administrator Charlie Bolden, otherwise known as the head of NASA at that time, and delivered us plaques to congratulate us on winning the competition. I believe there was about 600 or so, maybe more projects. And that was a very memorable moment, and I think a very important inflection point in all of our careers, because it really we didn't set out to build a company. We didn't set out to win the competition even. I mean, we went into the competition wanting to build something that inspired ourselves, and something that we thought, was useful, but also, cool. We wanted to build something that was cool. simply speaking. And I think one of the lessons I still carry from that day and from that competition is the sort of the opportunities that present themselves when you follow your passion, and you let passion and curiosity guide your decision making rather than ulterior motives like winning competitions or money or financial gain. And I think that passion has continued on to this day, and still drives us every day as we go on and try to build one of the most interesting and fastest growing companies in the space sector. This is very interesting. This is, I don't think some of it's not showing up well, but this was after that moment you saw with Charlie Bolden, we got a lot of media and investor interest. And so we realized that, if someone's going to pay us to do this, we might as well capitalize on the opportunity and build a company. Because obviously up until this point, we had been doing this simply out of passion. And so we came up with our first business model, and this was it. And I think everyone, people who work with me now and who know me now, will probably get a good chuckle out of this flow chart and how stupidly simple it is. But this was the business model we raised, almost our first $200,000 on. This idea that we would collect data from spacecraft, database icon, some sort of web interface, and we would connect that data with people around the world, with computers and systems all around the world. And the idea was to, our mission when we started the company in 2014 was to be the leading provider of data and intelligence from space. And I think when you look at our company now, and you look at what defines us today, nothing about what we're chasing has changed other than how we chase it. And so today our goal is to continue to work towards being the leading provider of data and intelligence in space, except we're really focused particularly in the Earth observation sector, which is almost the same as astronomy in terms of imaging, except the satellites are in burst and looking at the Earth. And funny enough, our business model is almost the exact same, except if you were to turn that satellite around and point it the other way, not much has changed. And so, following our passion 6 years later, earlier this year, we announced that we raised another $10 million to $5 million that we had raised previously. And we're one of the fastest growing space technology companies in the world. And certainly I would say definitely one of the fastest, if not the fastest growing company in the Earth observation sector. And I'm really excited about that. And it's hard to believe how fast 6.5 years has gone. But I think it serves as inspiration, I hope, to people who come into this competition and don't know anything about space. But the idea of being able to build something in the space economy and with space data is motivating to them, and something that they believe they can do. And I hope what this presents to many of you is an idea, this opportunity that you can build a career, you can build, you can spend your life working in this sector and working on really cool and interesting problems. And we decided after we won the hackathon back in 2014 that we wanted to dedicate as much of our career, hopefully the rest of our lives, but nothing's guaranteed when you start a company, but it's turning out to be true. But when we started the company, the goal was to dedicate as much of our career as we could to trying to work on these problems. And we're lucky 6.5 years later to still be doing that. So that concludes my quick little presentation about space and about SkyWatch. I hope, I wish everybody luck as they go on to build their projects. I'm looking forward to popping in and out of all of the various talks and workshops that are going on. And please feel free to reach out to me if there's any way I can be of help. I'd love to see these projects come to fruition. And yeah, I'll see you throughout the weekend. Thank you very much. I'll turn it back over to you, Maureen. I'll throw the microphone back across the Waterloo region.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, James. I'm going to stop that presentation and we can talk a little bit more about the SkyWatch prize with the Conestoga Venture Lab that we talked a little bit more. So we're actually really excited to announce this big prize. And as James mentioned, SkyWatch came out of the NASA Space Apps Hackathon, and over the year we've seen some incredible people come through and present those amazing solutions. And we found that without the help and support of the tech community behind them, the solutions just end up stopping after the weekend. And we found that we'd hope that by providing people more support and more help, we could actually have a SkyWatch 2.0 or another company coming up as this fantastic opportunity. So we actually teamed up with the Conestoga Venture Lab and the Conestoga Entrepreneurship Collective to offer a special commercial viability prize this year. And winners for the prize will receive entrance into the Conestoga Venture Lab for one-on-one coaching and industry mentorship, as well as collaboration with the applied research team to continue researching and developing their hackathon solution. If you haven't tried to get into an incubator, I cannot tell you how hard this is. So we will play you a short video from from Rose, the director of the Conestoga Entrepreneurship Collective, that can talk a little bit more about their specific prize.
Hi, my name is Rose Masnack, and I'm the director of the Conestoga Entrepreneurship Collective at Conestoga College. Our mission is to forge multiple pathways to entrepreneurship through new venture creation, freelance business incubation, and B2B sales training to fuel growth. The Venture Lab is Conestoga's business incubator that supports the development of early stage startups in diverse industries. From Main Street to outer space, our team champions a high-touch, hands-on experience with a bias for speed. Leveraging expert coaches and a comprehensive roadmap, we're your ride or die to co-create tangible commercial results. We are so pleased to partner with Conestoga Applied Research to sponsor the Commercial Viability Prize in the NASA Space Apps Challenge 2020 in Waterloo, brought to you by SkyWatch. The prize includes entrance to the Conestoga Venture Lab, collaboration with Conestoga Applied Research to continue to pursue R&D on your hackathon solution, as well as connection to college resources to aid in mentorship or testing once the nature of the winning solution has been determined. We can't wait to see what your imagination and hard work will create over the weekend. Have a great time.
All right. Again, this is a very specific prize that you will have to apply for, but Conestoga Venture Lab will have mentors available throughout the weekend to help you. Should you be interested in that prize, you don't have to. Again, if you just want to create beautiful art over the weekend or a beautiful solution just for 48 hours, you're more than welcome and encouraged to do so. But for those of you who have a little bit of that entrepreneur itch, that is a great way to get your foot in the door. So we really encourage you to reach out to those mentors, ask them more about the prize, ask them more about the Conestoga Venture Lab. By the way, if you happen to be a Conestoga student, it is also open to you through different means. So feel free to ask them more questions about that one too. Or if you're considering colleges or universities for next year, that is also something to consider. But we just really wanted to make sure to give you all that opportunity this year.